Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of Barley, Hops, and Yarn, the podcast edition. Apparently my words are not going to work today. My name's Jennifer, I'm the owner, operator, dyer, etc. of Barley, Hops, and Yarn, and this is my Knitting and Yarny podcast. Thanks for joining me if you're a repeat watcher of the show, and thanks for coming along if you're new. I hope you enjoy your time with me. I live in Maryland with my parents, husband, 2 cats, and dog. Generally, I record every 2 weeks. I don't tend to do vlog style, but this one's going to be a vlog style because next weekend should be my record and post weekend, but I'm actually going to be out of town. So I'm going to do a couple of videos here and there over the next couple of weeks, and then this week will be a 3-week cycle. Today is November 13th, Sunday. And I have a finished object to show, which is my first finished object in a while, so it's exciting. And then I have something I dyed and some acquisitions. So let's go ahead and get into it. So my finished told you I'm gonna have a hard time speaking today, apparently. Oh, I also have beer. So let's start with the beer because beer. I have hand-hewn Hell's Lager by Monumental Brewing based out of Baltimore. It's just a Hell's Lager, basic light blonde lager. The beer store that I go to that's local to me had it on sale for a 4-pack for $5. I'm like, well, haven't tried it before, it's $5, why not? So I like it. It has a little bit of a sweet flavor to it, which is not bad. I'm just not quite used to, I've been drinking a lot of sours lately, so I'm not quite used to my beers having a sweeter taste, sweeter flavor palette. But I like it, it's good. If you like lagers that are a little bit sweeter, then I would say to give that a try. Okay, now on to my finished object. I have a cowl. It is the cowl series. I do not remember who the designer, that's the word I'm looking for. I do not remember who the designer is. I think Dustin might be the guy's first name. Could be wrong, but it'll be linked down below. This pattern's pretty, I think it's cool. I mean, I don't know, I get excited about little things, but I think it's cool because they had 4 options for the edging and then 4 options for the body of the cowl. So I did option 3 for the ribbing and C for the cowl. I made this to match a hat that I had already made for my husband, and I just did a photographer hat for that, so nothing too fancy or exciting. Sorry, my phone's yelling at me because I have 20% battery. Whoops. Yeah, so I'm excited to be done with this and give it to my husband so he can use it. Today's really, I feel like it's kind of the first really cold day we've had. I think the high is only like 45 or some shit like that, so not a fan. But this was my starting edge, and this was my bind off edge, and you can tell that I was ready to be done with it by the time I finished because my tension's so much looser up here. Sorry, I'm covering my face. My tension's so much looser up here than it was down there, but that's okay because he's gonna wear it as a cowl, so it doesn't really matter if one is a little bit tighter than the other. So that's my finished object. I don't have much in the way of whips that I'm going to show y'all right now. I'll show some in later clips that I do for this episode. Really the only thing that I've worked on is this, and then my partner Vanilla is the 2. Vanilla is the new black sock in matte mint green color. I'm hoping to finish that today or tomorrow because I fly out on Wednesday and I just want like a fresh pair of socks to take on the trip with me. I'm in the middle of 2 pairs right now and I don't want to, I don't know, in my brain it makes more sense to just start a fresh pair of socks. So I'm hoping that I'll finish that one, and then I don't know if I'm going to cast on the ribbing before I leave or if I'll do it in the airport waiting to board the plane. I might do that and then just have it straight up be my New Mexico socks. So that's my finished object and my brief little talk about whips. I dyed this week, well, last week. I dyed both weekends, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm struggling today. I dyed both weekends. This was last week. But I didn't show it on podcast last week because it was still drying. So Johnny from Johnny Bo Dyes and the husband of Aquila from a Lefty Knitter podcast, when we were hanging out a couple weeks ago, has taken to calling my company Barbie Parts and Yarn instead of Barley Hops and Yarn because it has the same sound. So I made a Barbie Parts and Yarn colorway. I'm not big into Barbie or the Barbie colors. I had them when I was a kid, but didn't play with them too much, and pink is not super my vibe. But I knew, so with that being said, I knew I wanted to do like darker colors and then have pink and yellow in there for her blonde hair because I am also blonde. So I did I started out with some black, put a little bit of gray in there, and then I have my, are you gonna fake focus? I mean, I guess you are kind of focused, it's just not perfect. Then I have my pink and my yellow in there. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I will make this a colorway available on the shop, but with that being said, I wish there were a little bit less black in it and a little bit more pink to give it more Barbie feels. I don't know what I'm going to call it because I'm sure Barbie won't like it if I call... Yeah, like this is more of what I want for the vibe versus this side has a lot more black than I want. So when I repeat this, if anyone orders it, I'm gonna have less black. There will still be black in it, but it'll be less black. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. Part of me wants to make a hat, but I don't foresee me wearing it that often as a hat. So I'm thinking I might dye up. I don't know how much yardage is used in a ripple bralette or any of like those kind of designs from Jessie May. But I'm thinking that might be what I do. So I might dye up another skein and make a bralette with it. We'll see. But yeah, so I'm happy with how it turned out. It was fun to dye up. Andy actually was the one that when Johnny posted on Instagram was like, are you gonna do a colorway out of that? And I was like, yeah, I think I am. So thanks, Andy, because I don't know that I would have done it without you saying something. But yeah, I'm happy with it. So new colorway that I just made for fun, and I only made one skein, so I don't have any in stock, but like I said, if you'd like to order any, I might call it Barbara Parts and Yarn or something like that, but if you'd like to order any of this, I will make you some. So that's it. That's all for the stuff I've made. I went yesterday to the Maryland Alpaca Festival over at the Howard County Fairgrounds, and I bought a few things, so I shall now show them to you. If my hands would work, that would be great. Okay. I hope that's a really cute face and you all enjoyed it. All right, again, sorry, I like it, I'm happy with it. So I don't have it with me. Must be in my backpack. There's a company that's called Adnets. You can kind of see their logo there. So there's a company called Adnets, and they have knitting notions and things and accessories that are like nature inspired. So I have just like a little small bag by them that is a camping scene. So it's got a little tent and has a campfire and the mountains in the background, and the mountains are like stockinette stitch. So I knew that I wanted to hit up their little booth and just see what they had, and I wasn't really planning on buying anything. I only went there with the intention of 2 purchases I knew I was gonna make, one for me, one for myself, one for a friend. But they had this cute little bag. It's a sunflower with a ball of yarn in the middle. They had this on sale. So I was like, well, hell yeah, I'll get it if it's on sale. So happy with this little guy. And then they also have stickers. Sorry for the crinkle. I have it all in my bag still. So I'm very excited by the sticker. And no one else in my family is as excited as I am, but it's a yarn chicken. He's pooping out. Well, not pooping. Hens don't. Oh. I mean, also I think this is a rooster, so it's just like super non like a thing, but it's laying a yarn egg and is a chicken, and I love it. So yeah, I got that. I'll put that up on my sticker board. And then they had some stickers that were inspired by national parks. So I'm seeing a friend when I go to New Mexico who really likes to go to national parks and likes to hike and do all that fun stuff. So I asked her what her favorite national parks are, and one of the ones she said were the Smokies. So this was their sticker inspired by the Smokies. And this is, you can, I wish it would. Will you focus if you're not on my face? That's better. Okay, so you can see that the mountains are stitches and then the sun is a ball of yarn. So I'm gonna gift that to her and she can put it on her Yeti or wherever she'd like to put it. And then she is also a knitter. So she found a pair of fingerless mitts that she wants to make and she asked me to find her yarn that's in a neutral color but still kind of fun. So I stopped by Frogget. I cannot remember the names of the two lovely people that own and run Frogget, but they are a lot of fun. I went into their truck 3 times yesterday. Once because I was just kind of scoping out yarn options for my friend. The second time because I had another friend with me, so I dragged him in so that he could look and see, because he knows my friend as well. So see if he had an opinion on yarn, and then a third time to actually buy the yarn. So this is what I got. It's from Frogget Yarns, and it's just a really nice neutral. It kind of has grayish vibes. It's coming up a little bit more brown in the camera. But it's like I guess gray is just the color that it would be. I don't really know what to call it, but it's called Barnwood. So I feel like that's pretty fitting for what this color is, but it's just got a couple speckles, maybe not. A couple speckles of color in here, but all in all, there's a little bit of blue speckles that I really like. So I think this will work well. This will work well for the fingerless mitts she has planned up. I sent her a picture and she said she liked it, so I will give that to her when I see her. Now, the other thing I got is last year when I went, I stopped by the Fibrous booth, and they are kind of like sciencey, basically. They wear lab coats when they're vending at their booth, and a lot of their colorways are named after like chemical compounds or the chart with all the letters for all the, what is it called? The brain's not working. Chart with the letters that have the basic elements. I did not do well in chemistry in school, in case you can't tell. This is gonna annoy me. Okay, anyway, not the point. So they're just super like science based, and they have a Schroeder or Schrodinger? I don't know, science is not my thing, guys. So anyway, they have a mystery bag. Last year I got their worsted weight, and it was in a colorway that I definitely would not have ever picked for myself, but it worked out well because I ended up making a scarf for somebody else as a Christmas present. And I really liked how it pooled. So this year I decided, like I went in knowing, okay, they're going to be there. I am going to do a mystery bag of their fingering. So like I said, I had a friend that was with me. I made him be the one to pick out the bag because I was like, no, you get to do it, not me. So I love what he inadvertently mystery picked for me. And I feel like they go together super well. So we have this lovely, basically bare yarn here, and then this beautiful burgundy that just has different depths of tone to it. So I immediately knew that these were going to be in a project together. At first I was thinking of maybe doing something brioche, but I haven't, as you all know, I haven't made brioche before. And after thinking more about it, I think that for my first brioche project, I want to do either like a DK or a worsted weight to, and definitely like waist yarn that I don't care that much about. So I am, I think, going to make a shawl with these two colors playing off of each other. This white bear color is called C. It really does not like focusing. C for diamond, which I feel like is beautifully fitting. And then this one, I'm not even gonna pretend I know how to say any of that. So that's what that one is called. I hope you can read it on the screen. Almondine, that's what I'm gonna say it is. So I'm gonna make a shawl with these two. I was thinking for my trip that I was going to, well, I mean, I have that baby blanket, but I really need to finish because the baby is already like 8 months old. So I think my original plan was to bring the baby blanket, a new pair of socks, and a new hat. I'm thinking, because I have little to no self-control, that if it fits in my carry-on, I will also bring this to start the shawl. So we'll see. But yeah, so this is what I've got for you for this first clip, and until the next one, I mean, it'll be days for me, but it'll be seconds for you. So we'll see you soon. Good news, everybody. 5 minutes after I recorded my first clip, and I remembered that I'm trying to say the periodic table. So not a complete idiot. The brain still works sometimes. Hey, it is Saturday, November 26th. I hope everybody that is in the US or celebrates Thanksgiving had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Mine was filled with most of the day traveling, then a little bit of the day at home with family and eating, and then sleeping, because traveling is exhausting. I did not really record anything podcast-wise while I was in New Mexico, so I've had a bit of a 2-week gap here. I do have photos and videos and all that I'll insert at the end. But yeah, so let's jump into it. I have finished objects, which is exciting. Okay, first finished object. I had said, I think in the last clip, that my intention was to try to get it done before I flew out, and I did. Yay! So last time y'all saw these, I had one sock done and had pretty much just started this next one. So again, this is the vanilla is the new black sock. And again, I fail at remembering who it's by, but like I said, every time it'll be linked. So I have 2 of them. So I'm very excited about that. The only thing left I have to do is weave in, cut out that little niblet there that you can't even, there we go. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. That little niblet there that has been woven in but needs to be cut, and then weave in the toe, because I literally finished it in the car on the way to the airport. So I was like, I'm finishing these, damn it. So very excited about that. I still have not tried them on, so no idea how they fit, how they feel, anything like that. It was nice to do a sock with a different heel, but I don't know. Sorry, I keep switching the side my camera's on. There we go. So you can see that it has like the detail in the heel there. You know, we'll see if I make it again. We'll see if I won't. It definitely was easier to do the heel pattern and kind of read what I was doing the second time around, which makes sense. But I still, I'm struggling today. I still didn't really love it. So also, I'm recording at night. I have all the lights on in my room, but the coloring's still a little bit off. So just bear with me for the coloring on some of these things today. So we have that, and then finished object number 2 is baby blanket for the baby that has already been born and has already been here for 9 months at this point, because she was born in February. But that's okay, she's getting a blanket made by hand and with love. Last time y'all saw it, I was right here, so I really just had 2 more sets of triangles and then the edge to do. So I specifically took this to New Mexico with me, thinking this will be what I work on while I'm there. This has to be what I work on. I have to finish it. So again, I still have a lonely little end to weave in, but other than that, this baby's done. So I will tomorrow weave in the end, wash it, and on Monday it will go to its recipient, which I'm very excited to be done with this. And I'm not making any more baby blankets for a while. I enjoy making baby blankets, but they're just a little bit of a bigger project. Well, let me rephrase. If I do make a baby blanket, which I'm sure I will, I'm not going to do something quite as textured as this. I'll do something much more mindless that I don't have to count for, because that was part of my problem with this baby blanket, was the highest number you have to count to is 13, and I can't count to 13 and pay attention to other people or talk at the same time. So it didn't really get worked on that often unless I knew I could focus on it. I do, of course, as every project does, have a couple of mistakes, but honestly, I can't even like find where they are right now. I'm sure I could if I stared hard enough at it, but I'm not seeing the mistakes, so I'm not that concerned about the recipient seeing them either. But very excited for this to be done. It's soft and squishy. I don't remember the specific type of yarn it is. I know it's a Lions brand mandala, but I don't remember the colorway. I like to use the Lion brand mandalas or something similar because I just like that it's, you know, self-striping, so I don't have to think about it while I work on it, which I greatly appreciate. No, that's not what I want to say. It's just a little bit of extra excitement for a blanket without the extra work of having to weave in ends of different colored yarns and everything. I also always make them acrylic, so very easy to take care of. So yeah, those are my two finished objects. So very excited to have both of those done. Of course, that means I've cast on a couple new things because I have no self-control. So finished 2, cast on 2, have a planned cast on, so 3. And then frogged part of 1. Okay, anyway, not the point, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, project and acquisition, because it's in my new little yarn containment system, as I call it, is the sock that I had told y'all about prior. So this is woolen vinyl in Jesse's Girl, and then I'm just pairing it with a charcoal, I can't remember the name of the Dyers, but they sell out of Clover Hill Yarn Shop in Catonsville, Maryland, is primarily where they sell out of. Is it Tempting You? EWE, like the animal. I think it might be Tempting You. I have the label, I don't have it with me because you guys should be used to this by now. Anyway, so I frogged this last night up until this first black stripe, because when I had first started making it, I was just going to do the heels, toes, and cuffs in contrasting colors. But then I decided, well, I have enough, so let me go ahead and stripe. And then I decided once I finished my 3 stripes of Jesse's Girl, I decided I didn't like how much black or charcoal I had up top here. So I picked up my stitches and then frogged back and redid this. So these again are a gift for somebody, because their favorite song is Jesse's Girl. So I figured I'd do that. And then yesterday, local to me, there is I don't remember the name of it because, as we all know by now, I'm really bad at names, but there's some sort of like holiday craft show that happens 2 weekends. It happens the weekend before Thanksgiving and the weekend after. So on Friday, my mom and I went there, and I got this cute little yarn containment system. So the company is called Jaded Vector. I will tag their Etsy. Now they're a new company, so they don't have a lot of stuff listed on their Etsy right now. Pretty much all they have is stickers. But they did branch into making these cute little yarn containment systems. So it's a triangle, and then you can fold it flat apparently, but I got yarn in there, so that's not gonna work well. But it just has the little snappy buttons, and then the sides here are open so you can string your yarn through like I'm doing right now. But yes, so the company is called Jaded Vector. They're a new company right now. Pretty much all they have listed, I think, on Etsy are stickers, but they're slowly starting to add more. And then they have, I don't know what they are calling this, but I'm calling it a yarn containment system because that's what it is. It's going to contain my yarn. I probably won't use it too much as like an on-the-go project bag, but I'll definitely use it at home to contain my yarn. And then they also had needle minders. So if any of y'all do any sort of needlepoint stuff, embroidery, cross stitch, I don't know why I couldn't come up with that word, embroidery, cross stitch, all that stuff that you would need a needle minder, whatever for, they have those. And the owner, operator, whatever they would prefer to be called as, is like designed all of these things. I think they just graduated from graphic design school or something like that. I don't know. I didn't finish college, so doesn't mean much to me, but I love my little froggies. I love my little yarn containment system. So that is my one actually exciting acquisition that I have for this week. And then, as you all know, if you watched last week's episode or the beginning of this week's episode, I went to New Mexico over last week. I left on the 16th. I just got back on Thanksgiving, so on the 24th. And I, of course, because I was in Southeast New Mexico, so where I was, Roswell was an hour north of me, so I, of course, had to visit Roswell. So I am making an alien cowl. I'm not going to show you that up close because it is a paid-for pattern, but that's alien charts. And I started this 4 times, so it's been in timeout a little bit. Not once I got started on it and got the hang of it, but it requires a provisional cast on, which I know how to do. I've done before, not a big deal. I didn't want to start it until I started my trip, so I started it at the airport. Did my provisional cast on, got a few rounds, I think 5 rounds into the striping, because there's striping here at the beginning to start. Got 5 rounds into the striping and realized that when I joined, it was twisted. Okay, great. So ripped that all out, and then did another like provisional cast on chain. Didn't get enough stitch and like cast on and everything. Didn't get the amount of stitches I needed. So I was like, all right, I'm not doing this on a plane anymore. This is annoying. And then the next morning I went ahead and I did my chain, and I didn't have enough stitches on my chain. So I was just super annoyed at this project just to start it with the provisional cast on and joining in the round. So I ended up doing a provisional cast on directly onto the needle, which I've never done before, and now will only do going forward because it was so much easier than just like crocheting a chain and then knitting into that for your cast on. So I was extra careful. I did that. I started it at a brewery the first night there, and my friend actually had another person that she had met at the brewery that came up, and just as he was starting to introduce himself to me, I was like, hold on, I'm counting and I'm making sure I'm not messing up my knitting. Give me 30 seconds and then I can meet you. Because, you know, knitting comes first, I guess. But anyway, so finally, 4th try, got it, we're good. This is where I'm at. I have not that much done, but I have my first row of aliens. I think total I'll have 6 rows of aliens if I remember the pattern correctly, and then there's going to be some striping. So the outside, well, I don't want to say outside inside because it's reversible, but one side will be the aliens, the other side will be stripes. And I am doing this in my colorways. The pink is Sally and the green is Pigpen. So they're both mostly tonals, but with some black speckling in them. And I'm excited. So I did a lot of this while we were like in the car on the go, and I didn't catch my floats because that was more brain power than I wanted to put forward while I was hanging out with a really good friend and in the car going to Roswell and White Sands and all these other places. So my floats kind of look like a mess right now because they're not caught. There are 2 rows that I started catching them because I was like sitting on the couch and it was a little bit easier to pay attention to what I was doing, and my tension's super messed up on those 2 rows. So I'm just going to continue not catching the floats. I'm really not worried about like getting stuck. Like when I wear it, I know part of the reason we catch our floats to begin with is to keep a consistent tension, but obviously it screwed up mine when I started catching them. But then also, because obviously if you have long floats, like your fingers can get stuck in them, or they can snag on things more easily or catch on things more easily. But the way this is constructed is going to be folded in on itself. So the floats aren't even going to be catchable by anything else because they're going to be protected by a second layer of fabric. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to catch my floats and we'll see how it goes. And so far it's going well, other than the rows I decided to catch my floats on that are a little bit tighter in tension, but that is okay. So I'm excited for this to be done. Love my little alien guys. There's that. And I have one other whip to show y'all, and that is another Musselburgh because once you make one, you can't just stop at one. So this will be my 4th total, I think. I'm pretty sure I have 2 for me, 1 for my dad, and then this one. So this yarn I had started, this is Sally, because different Sally characters though. Mine is Peanuts. This is Nightmare Before Christmas. So this is Sally by Sinful Yarns. They, I believe, are based out of either Nevada or Utah. I don't remember which state, but it's somewhere out west. And I had started making this specific yarn like as a pair of socks. I really, really liked how it looked in this skein. But I wasn't loving how it looked when I was knitting it up. So I was like, okay, it had a lot to attention because you can kind of see it a little bit right here where there's just a chunk of, the way it was pooling, there's a chunk of yellow, chunk of red, chunk of other colors. And I wasn't liking that for my socks. I wanted it to be a little bit more marled. So I was thinking, okay, maybe if I make a hat, I will get that feel. And I am so far getting the more marled feel on the hat. I'm done my increases. Quick side note, if you don't know if you haven't made a muscle bird yet, and I know that's not how you technically pronounce it, but I live in the US, so I'm sorry. If you haven't made one yet, it is a paid for pattern by Isolde Teague, I believe is how you pronounce the pattern writer's name. Quick pause, I do not have beer today. I had beer every single day I was in New Mexico, so I need a break. So instead I have tea. Okay, so back to the yarn. So I am really enjoying this kind of more of a marled effect with all different colors because it is a very colorful yarn that I'm getting on here. Contrary to the fact that I'm wearing bright red and you guys see a lot of bright colors like what the baby blanket is and everything, this is a little bit too much going on for me to wear it as a hat for myself. So I am going to gift it to somebody when it's finished, which will be eventually, but this is good on the go knitting, car knitting. I worked on it a little bit on the airplane because, I mean, not much. I literally got like 1.5 inches done on the airplane, but this is where I'm at with my muscle bird. Shoo, that's what I've got for current whips to show y'all. I am planning a cast on of a blanket in Cowboys colors for my uncle. Bought yarn for that yesterday. It's just literally store brand acrylic yarn. So it's nothing exciting to look at if you can picture what the Cowboys colors are, which are like a deep navy blue and silver, then that's the color of the yarn, except it's gray, not silver, because shiny yarn is weird to me. If you like shiny yarn, hey, you do you. I just don't love it myself. So that's it for what I've got for whips and my one little acquisition. Again, New Mexico was great. It was the perfect combination of adventuring and relaxing and just kind of enjoying myself to be away from daily life. I got quite a bit of knitting done. I mean, not a lot, but I definitely knit on stuff every day. But again, we did a lot of adventuring too. So we spent a day in Roswell. We went out to White Sands, which was a 3.5-hour drive. So it's not like that was a short adventuring day. It was a long adventuring day because we did it all at once. We hit 3 breweries total, so 2 in the town that I was staying in, and then 1 in a town called Cloudcroft. And most of the beers I had were great. I don't think I had one that I absolutely hated. That's not true. There was a sour at one of the breweries that was awful, but that is okay because everything else was exceptional. It was great. Ate pizza a couple times, cooked dinner for at home a couple times, went out a couple times. So all in all, it was a really good trip. I went to the Carlsbad Caverns one day, which was a lot of fun. All in all, I hiked about 3 miles that day. And then the next day I went to the Guadalupe Mountains National Park. So that was absolutely beautiful. That was one of the harder hikes I've ever done, partially because of my mindset. All in all, I did about 5 miles for that particular hike, and I just starting out the first mile, I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I don't like this. Why am I hiking right now? And then once I got past that first mile, I was like, okay, this isn't bad. You are enjoying yourself. It's beautiful. Just keep going. So after that first mile, I did end up really enjoying my hike and having a good time. I hiked the McKittrick, I think that's how you pronounce it, McKittrick Trail. Obviously not all of it, because all of it is like 14 miles one way, and there's no way in hell I'm doing 14 miles in one day, let alone, I mean, I'm sure I could eventually if I like trained for it, but that's not happening. So I did about 2.5 miles each way up to a cabin called Pratt Cabin, and they had like rocking chairs up there, and I brought lunch with me. So I sat and had lunch and brought socks that I ended up frogging going back on, but knit on socks while I was up there just in a rocking chair enjoying a beautiful mountain view. So that was very exciting. There was a living desert zoo, it's called. It's not associated to the one in California as far as I'm aware. But they have their own living desert zoo, and I accidentally scared a roadrunner into running away from me, which was quite entertaining to watch a roadrunner run. But that was fun to just kind of learn about the different animals that are native to the New Mexico, and I think it's the Chihuahuan Desert area, and plants and all of that too. So all in all, I really enjoyed my trip. I would definitely say to go to these places, but have another reason for going too. If I had not been going specifically to stay with a friend and didn't have to pay, if I did have to pay for like a hotel and room and board and all of that, I probably wouldn't have had as enjoyable as a time, because Carlsbad is a very small town. There is not much to do there, but if you enjoy hiking, if you enjoy nature, if you enjoy going to national parks and things like that, then it is a nice area to go to, because there are a few like in a close distance with each other. So that's that for my trip and my knitting and really kind of my life update. I did do some reading, but most of the reading I've done was on The Lord of Chaos, which is the 6th, I think, book in the Wheel of Time series, which was a 42-hour long audiobook, so obviously I didn't get that much done on other things. I did on Thursday read almost all of It Begins With Us by Colleen Hoover, which is the follow-up to It Ends With Us. I enjoyed it, and I understand the place for the book, but for me, I felt as though the ending of It Ends With Us wrapped things up nicely, and I wasn't invested enough that I wanted a continuation of these characters' lives, which is basically what It Begins With Us is. So I did altogether enjoy it. I do recommend people read it. I just didn't think it was as good as It Ends With Us, which is fine. So I read that, read The Lord of Chaos. I think that's really it for all I read. I didn't take any notes before sitting down and recording this because I just kind of jumped into it. So I think that's it for reading. Don't have beer to talk about today. Talked about all my knitting. And I do this every episode where I'm like doing a mental checklist of did I talk about everything before I sign off. But you know what? I'm just going to assume I did talk about everything. If I didn't, then I'll tell you all in 2 weeks. So there's that. I did notice that I have a few new subscribers in the past couple of weeks. So thank you all. I know I said it at the beginning of the video, but I'll say it then too. Thank you all for joining me if you're new and arriving along this train of sometimes chaos. And of course, thank you again if you're returning. I do really appreciate it. So I hope y'all have a great 2 weeks, and I will see you soon. Bye. Take a video of it. That look better.